Hi everybody, I hope people are doing okay today this Friday. I know that for many of us, hearing about the verdict with the Breonna Taylor case has been very difficult, and I know that in general this is a very difficult time. I'm checking in today just to give you a little bit of feedback about your papers, and then that's going to be it. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through grading your papers. I think I will be done grading all of them hopefully tomorrow or Sunday, and I will post them. I do celebrate Yom Kippur, so I will try to release all the grades before the beginning of Yom Kippur. That's my goal. If you have submitted a paper by today, Friday, I will have it graded before the holiday starts on Sunday evening. Right now, I've been grading them, but I haven't been putting them up because what I like to do is review my grades and make sure that I'm being consistent and make sure that a comment that I made on the first paper is reflected in a similar way to a comment I might have made on the 8th or 9th or 20th paper. So that's my goal. Right now, the grades are all in the A's and B's. There's some really high A's and there's some kind of low B's. So I want to talk with you a little bit about how the grading will work on Blackboard, because usually I just hand these papers back. So when you submitted your paper through Blackboard, I'm able to read it and do comments that come, I think, as little sticky notes right on the paper. I wrote a ton of comments on most of your papers. If you open it up and you see tons of yellow notes everywhere or blue highlight or however it shows up on your phone or on your computer, that doesn't mean that those are all corrections. In some cases, they are me saying, I don't understand this, or this isn't how you should write this. But a lot of times it's me asking a question or just saying, oh, that's awesome, that's a great idea. So please do read the comments. I spend a lot of time on the comments. I think that's my job as a professor. It's less about telling you how good or bad your paper is, and it's more about me saying, here's ways that it can be stronger, here's questions I have, here's points that don't make sense to me. Then you'll see a grade that's out of 15, because remember, this paper is worth 15% of your final grade. So you'll see a 13 or a 12 or an 11 or whatever that is. But then if you open up the little comment section, I will give you overall comments on the paper, telling you in general what worked and didn't work about it, or what I was looking for that you didn't do, or how you blew me away, or whatever it is. And then at the bottom, I'm giving you a point total. If you look back at the assignment, I told you how I was going to break down the grades. 10% for a thesis, 10% for mechanics, 10% for writing, that kind of thing. So you'll see a grade out of each possible. It'll maybe be a 10 for mechanics or a 7 for thesis. And if you add all that up, if you did everything, got full credit for everything, you would have 100. So far, one student does have 100. Most of you have something less than 100. It might be 85. It might be 95. And then that I multiply by 15. That's how you get the number at the top. So please know, this is only 15% of your grade. If you got a 90 compared to a 100, that's only a difference of 1.5 points. That's a 13.5 instead of a 15 out of 15 on your paper. I do permit students to redo papers in order to earn what I call a strong B. So if you have anything below an 86 and you would like to redo your paper, you may, but you have to make an appointment with me so that we can go over it, because what I don't want you to do is just respond to all of my comments and hand it back in. I want a global redo. For most of you, at least so far, you're not going to find that it's worth your time. Right now, again, I've graded 11 papers so far, and there's a few students who are below an 86, but I don't think it would be worth it for them to redo the entire paper because they're only a few points below. We'll see, because I'm not done grading and I'm still waiting on some papers. On the other hand, those of you who have not been posting on Blackboard, I've been trying to email you and talk to you and get you to come talk to me to see what's going on. That actually is going to hurt your grade quite a bit. Those add up. These papers matter, but those posts on Blackboard also matter. And if you've got week after week of 0, that's going to hurt you more than getting an 80 instead of an 85 on this paper. So for students who are concerned about grades and you're not posting on Blackboard, please do make an appointment to see me or send me an email, and we can chat and try to get you out of the hole. The other thing you'll see, and many of you saw this in your papers, is that you're able to use the conversations in Blackboard to help you jump off and start writing your papers. And we're going to do another paper that's going to be pretty similar coming up. It's going to be on two books that we're reading. We're reading most of two books. The first one I asked you to order, and here it is, Letters to a Young Education Reformer. We meet this week on Tuesday and on Wednesday. So I encourage you to just read as much of this book as you can. For those of you who are still working on the paper, that's a little problematic because now we're moving on, right? So get the Hess book. It's a fast read. It's meant for a general audience. It's not an academic book. He has a particular perspective about school reform that I think some of you are going to like, because some of the themes that came up in the paper, many of you wrote about this idea that we should let local actors have more control in what happens in schools, and that's one of the themes in this book. And then after that, we're going to read parts of this book, not the entire thing, because it's a little bit bigger, by Noli Rooks. This one is, I don't know if it looks backwards to you, it looks backwards to me, but this one is available electronically from the library, so you don't have to buy that one. They have two very different visions for what we should do moving forward to reform schools. So we're going to read those books, talk about them in class, write about them on Blackboard. You write one more paper like this, and then we're going to move on and look at more narrow reforms week by week. It'll change week by week, and there won't be another big paper until you choose a topic of your own interest that you'll write about for your final paper. We'll talk about that later. This clip has now been 6 minutes longer than I intended. So I hope that you were all able to find a way to have some joy in your lives this weekend, and I look forward to seeing you in class on Zoom on Tuesday of next week. Take care.